When Spencer Strider sits down and puts together his Rookie of the Year resume, his 16 strikeout gem should probably be in bold font. This is BPTV, Cory McCartney and Grant McAuley with you as always. And Strider's performance Thursday night against the Rockies, Grant, is going to go down as one of those where were you performances. And it came from a guy in just his 17th career start.
Yeah, absolutely unbelievable. And when you think about the pitching rich history of the Atlanta Braves and the number of Hall of Famers that have put on that uniform and had an opportunity to do the kind of thing that Spencer Strider did against the Rockies on Thursday, but just simply did not get there for a variety of reasons, it just lets you know how impressive this is. And 16 strikeouts across 8 innings for Spencer Strider, breaking the modern record, the Atlanta era record, I guess, of John Smoltz, who'd done it twice in his Hall of Fame career, and just two shy of Warren Spahn's 18 strikeouts, which in and of itself is impressive. Spahn needed 15 innings to get those 18 strikeouts. You let Spencer Strider throw 15 innings, I'm not sure how many strikeouts he'd pile up or if he'd be able to lift his right arm the next day. But be that as it may, impressive doesn't even begin to describe what Spencer Strider did on Thursday. And it just seems to be the latest and greatest for a starting pitcher that is very much entrenching himself in the Braves rotation, a place that he didn't even enter until the very end of May.
Yeah, I mean, he was absolutely pounding the strike zone on Thursday night. 79 strikes on 106 pitches, which is a 74.5% rate for those without a calculator. Had a ridiculous 62.5% whiff rate on that slider, a season best 52.6 put away rate on that pitch, augmenting that fastball that averaged 98.5 miles per hour. I mean, it was just utter dominance. You mentioned, taking down John Smoltz's Atlanta era record. He now has the Braves rookie record for strikeouts in a season. He's at 174, breaking the 170 set by Julio Teheran back in 2013. And it's all the more stunning when you remember that he not only did he not join the rotation until May 30th, he didn't pitch past the 5th inning until June 10th. He already has the highest Fangraph WAR of any Braves rookie pitcher since the team moved to Georgia. And get this, in order to find the franchise's last pitcher to have a better WAR, you have to go back to before the war. That's World War I, Dick Rudolph in 1913. So, I mean, it's just, no matter how many ways you want to look at it, it's absolutely staggering what he's been able to do. Certainly have just over a month of the season remaining. And should the Braves not skip any of his starts, and there's the potential that maybe they could as innings start to build, he could get 6 more times on the mound before the end of the season, on pace for 214 strikeouts, which would be the 13th 200K season by a rookie in the live ball era and the first since Yu Darvish in 2012. So, I mean, Grant, what more do you need to see to call the NL Rookie of the Year race in Strider's favor?
Well, I mean, obviously we have another month to play, and Michael Harris just finished up a very good month of August. In fact, I think his best as a big leaguer, and was quite impressive himself. I know you were talking about WAR, not the first WAR, but actually wins above replacement WAR. Michael Harris has been putting up a pretty good one of those this year, 1.4 in August alone. He was absolutely impressive in putting up an OPS of near 1,000, as a matter of fact, stealing 5 bases, knocking in a bunch of runs, 12 doubles in the month, scored 22 runs. I mean, and that just adds to Michael Harris's impressive resume. But I think it definitely comes down to these two, right? There's nobody else that's going to work their way into the Rookie of the Year race at this point that's going to be able to get past Spencer Strider and or Michael Harris in this case. And at this point, I feel like you could do worse than having these guys split the award right down the middle. It's been that impressive. But Spencer Strider, in terms of what he's doing, strikeouts per 9 is absolutely absurd. 13.7 on the season now. That has him on pace to get to 200 strikeouts at 131 and 1/3 innings. If he's able to get there, that would be obviously a blistering pace and make him only the second pitcher in baseball history to get to 200 strikeouts in less than 150 innings, if in fact they do curtail his innings and he only throws, well, and I don't know that he's going to throw, 35 1/3 more innings to get himself to 150. We'll see how the whole thing plays out, long story short, but this is going to be a historic season for him. It could be an award-winning season for him, and all of this is added up to answering one of the questions in the Braves rotation that took quite a while to figure out who was going to step in and be that guy, and Spencer Strider is most definitely that guy.
Yeah, Strider is the overall rookie Fangraph leader at 4.2, nearly doubling the next closest pitcher, George Kirby from the Mariners. And he's 0.4 ahead of the top position player, Seattle's Julio Rodriguez, and he's 0.5 ahead of Michael Harris II right now. And I mean, if he ends up with that award, I mean, he's going to end up, with this being one of the real tent poles of that candidacy without question.
It absolutely will be. And if you look at the overall pitchers WAR right now at 4.2, as you just mentioned, he's seventh best in all of Major League Baseball. And the guys ahead of him have thrown at least 26 and some, in Sandy Alcantara's case, up to 71 more innings than Spencer Strider to put together a better wins above replacement, according to Fangraphs. This kid has done a lot in a limited amount of time, and it's just exciting to see what he's going to do the next time he gets out there.
So as we talk about Strider and whether he's going to get those next 6 starts, he's already thrown 114 and 2/3 innings, which is 18 and a third more than he did last year across 4 minor league levels and the majors. That's where Mike Soroka becomes a key piece of this conversation. Soroka will make his 4th rehab start Friday night for AAA Gwinnett, his 3rd for the Stripers. Soroka obviously hasn't pitched in the big league since August of 2020. He told me his target here is 90 pitches on Friday night. That number, Grant, would make it seem to suggest that this could be his last rehab start. So do we see Soroka return, which could be as early as next week, and put him in line to get an opportunity to pitch when the team is on the West Coast, beginning with that trip in Oakland?
It could be. And I'm really interested to see how this plays out because the Braves made a procedural roster move with Mike Soroka that I think it opens them up for the opportunity to call him up at basically at any point that they want to. But somebody would have to go on the injured list because they optioned him to the minors. And I have heard, and it just depends on who you talk to or how the conversation has gone over time, that maybe they're going to let this whole 30-day window play out to allow him to get the full rehab assignment. And that's the reason why they weren't worried about optioning him down and worried about that 15-day window. Now, of course, as I just said, you can throw that out the window if somebody goes on the injured list and Mike Soroka can be recalled at that point to join the active roster. Of course, it would have to be a pitcher because you can only have, at this point, with 28 men on the roster, 14 of those guys be pitchers. It would be a move that I think could be made and may well be made. I'm just interested to see how this rehab start goes, the 4th one that gets him to the 90 pitch plateau, and how sharp he looks because, obviously the health is number one. The stuff you want to see working the way that he wants it to and the way that we'll get big league hitters out. But I think at this point, maybe you do look a little bit more at the line in the next couple of starts to see are the results matching the stuff, and clearly the health, which is the number one priority in getting Mike Soroka back on a big league mound, was getting him back to full health, keeping him that way, and allowing him to go out every 5th day and become a key member, you hope, of the Braves starting rotation, both in the short term and perhaps the long term, if he can get his career back on track. So I say all of that to say, I don't know that they're inextricably linked, Spencer Strider's innings limit, to what Mike Soroka may offer, but it's certainly one of the many stories and one of the many things we're going to be monitoring in September, because I don't know how much you want to mess with a good thing down the stretch when you're trying to chase down the New York Mets. And this is a guy who's gone out and dominated some first place lineups. And then when he faced the Colorado Rockies, who were very good at home, not so great on the road, he threw a Hall of Fame level performance and one of the best outings by a Braves pitcher in the history of ever. This is a guy that I want to see every 5th day. If he's feeling up to it and he's healthy, I think you might be able to look past that innings limit and just kind of manage him as it goes and use common sense. As the Braves have said all along, they're not going to limit his innings. They don't believe in that.
Yeah, I mean, Soroka would certainly be a fantastic comeback story regardless. And maybe they could allow, MLB wins leader Kyle Wright, who's already skipped 1 start with arm fatigue, to manage his innings, certainly Strider as well. I mean, keep them fresh for October without question. And it obviously would be potentially adding a former all-star to the mix and an arm that does not have a lot of mileage on it these past 2 seasons. And honestly, I mean, there could not be a bigger X factor down the stretch if Soroka can return, and he can return and do so in effective fashion. The deficit in the National League East remains at 3 games as the Mets answer the Braves series win over the Rockies by taking 2 of 3 against the Dodgers, holders of the major's best record. We're now in the midst of the Mets playing 16 straight games against losing teams, while the Braves welcome in the Marlins for 3 games before embarking on that 8-game West Coast road trip that includes the Mariners. Yeah, the Marlins are 28 games back, but in the series opener, the Braves are going to have to deal with Sandy Alcantara, the NL Cy Young frontrunner. He has a .53 ERA against the Braves this season, including a complete game shutout, 21 strikeouts, and 2 starts. Grant, this is going to be a big test for the Braves opening up this series.
Yeah, because we could be looking at the National League Cy Young Award winner in the eyes of many. I don't know if that race has completely been called, but Sandy Alcantara feels like a pretty strong favorite as far as that's concerned, just for the pure dominance of what he's done and a durability standpoint in which he has done it as well, with all of those complete games. And if the Marlins are looking for something to watch, and it's a little bit harder to find on some days than others, Sandy Alcantara has given them something great every fifth day, it seems like, and he's had some of his better starts against the Atlanta Braves as well. And they're going to be three good young starting pitchers going against the Braves in this series as well. So it's going to be, I think, a little bit tougher in terms of the Braves offense, the job that they're going to have. But the Marlins offense has been really just searching for anything that it can find. The absence of Jazz Chisholm and also cutting loose Jesus Aguilar. So they've changed a couple of things, and I don't necessarily think it's for the better when it comes to their offense. So I think the Braves, pitching wise, will just have to match up with these guys. And if it turns into the battle of the bullpens, I do feel pretty good about the Braves' chances in this one.
The Braves are going to counter Alcantara with Charlie Morton on Friday, followed by a resurgent Jake Odorizzi versus Edward Cabrera on Saturday, then Max Fried and Pablo Lopez in the series finale on Sunday. Atlanta 9-4 this season against the Marlins, but they are winners of 9 of 11 games, not started by Alcantara. Every win matters, of course, with the Mets playing that more favorable schedule in this upcoming stretch. Make sure you come along with the ride with us here on BPTV as we take you all the way into October and beyond. So subscribe, hit that notification button. Of course, you can also find us on 92.9 The Game in Atlanta on Sundays. Until next time, I'm Cory McCartney. He's Grant McAuley, and we'll see you soon, Braves Country.